Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Manning Field for Game 8, the final game of the Lynn City Soccer Tournament, the 15th annual tournament. It started, girls had a doubleheader on Tuesday, boys a doubleheader on Wednesday. Here at Manning Field this morning, it was Lynn English girls defeating Tech, winning the consolation game. It was Lynn Tech beating Lynn English in the consolation game in the boys' version. St. Mary's just eked out a win over Lynn Classical 2-1 for the girls' championship. And now St. Mary's trying to make it a sweep for St. Mary's. They're taking on Lynn Classical in the final of the boys. So this is the 8th game of the tournament, 8th and final game. We breezed through this. Richard Mateo in net for St. Mary's. Daniel Cotres for Lynn Classical. St. Mary's in the white, Lynn Classical in the green. The performance of the day was in the boys' game, Tech against English. Gio Ramirez scored 4 goals. They had a big 5-goal first half. St. Mary's knocks it deep. They're going to get there and keep it in. They drop it back. Nice little shift. Take it back down the far side, trying to throw it in front. Blocked. Classical gets a piece and knocks it out of play. Sneaking around and losing it. St. Mary's keeps it in. Pumped off the play. Classical won their game and they were missing Josue Blas, probably their best player. He was at a college interview. Wanted badly to play. They wouldn't change the interview, so obviously that was extremely important. And they won it without him. So now they have him. Trying to tip it ahead, and they knock it out. That was Maxwell Gonzalez knocking it out. Tipped up. St. Mary's coming back. Blocked. De Oliveira had it taken away. Bongstefan knocked it in. St. Mary's down deep, trying to center it. Classical knocks it away. And Classical will knock it away deep. St. Mary's coming right back. And the pass bounced over the foot. I think it was Garcia. Went out of play. The weatherman has been good. It looked like for a minute we were going to get some heavy rain. The rain started to come down. People got their umbrellas out. Now Classical with a break. They almost gave it away. Kevin Molina Orellana split 2 defenders, but he had to take it on the run. Got too much foot in it and dripped it up over everything. During the girls' game, it started to rain. It looked like it was starting to rain pretty good, coming down very steady. But it lasted maybe 30 seconds. The sun went behind a cloud, the rain came down, and then bang, the rain, as quick as it started, it stopped. It's been a fairly cool day, but it's been a nice day. Not Glasgow keeping it in. Back checking from behind takes it away. Glasgow takes it away. And Glasgow gets knocked down. They knocked Albin Asani down. This is Josue Blas, who we talked about. Didn't play the first game. Now he's back. He'll take the free kick from the 24-yard line. Very good player. He drills it, and it's going to go wide to the near side and out of play. Good solid kick, but he just hooked it. St. Mary's knocks it deep, and now it's a foot race. And coming all the way out of the net is Cotres. St. Mary's takes it away, and they're going to call St. Mary's for taking the Glasgow player down. And the Glasgow player is still down. Looked like he slid, maybe got a piece of his ankle. He's sitting up, and Miss Gagnon, the trainer, right there to check him out. Glasgow's going to get a free kick out of this. He's up, and thank goodness he's walking out under his own steam. Just about 6 minutes in to this first half. And we're certainly off and running here on Channel 15. Four soccer games and a football game here today. English getting a big win. 3 football games last night, 2 of them here, a doubleheader. And it's always nice to see the Lynn teams win. And St. Mary's gets knocked down. Olashoa George will take the kick. But it's always nice to see the Lynn teams win. Nice to see all of the Lynn teams win. They got it down to the net. They went up, got a head on it, and got a little heavy head because they tipped it up over the net and everything out of play. That might have been Thongstaphone with the header. In that maze of plays, he went up and got his head on it. Lifted up over everything out of play. Grayson Payne with the throw-in. And we're going to get Classical, I think, with a push-off when that going up looking for that jump ball. Matt Conley will take the free kick. So here he's got a head on it, but tipped it wide. Classical will track it down. And they knock it out. They were looking to knock it upfield. They kind of shanked it a little bit and knocked it out of play. Pop straight up in the air and out of play. So it was, last night, it was St. Mary's, Classical, and Tech all winning, but winning big. And I mean big. The games weren't even close. And then English today screwed out to a pretty good lead and then hung on and beat Beverly 26-20. So congratulations to the coaches. Chris Carroll from English, James Runner from Tech, Matt Durgan, St. Mary's, and of course the brand new coach on the block, the former outstanding English player, Brian Vaughan at Classical. St. Mary's knocked it deep. They try to send it out in front. They knocked it out of play at the side of the net. So nobody really getting any big-time scoring opportunities as yet. St. Mary's kind of controlling the play a little bit, keeping it in the Classical end, but not getting real good scoring opportunities. Payne with the throw-in. Popped up, knocked away from behind by Classical and cleared away. Very deep to George back there who heads it away. Classical knocks it up. And when they knocked it down, they knocked Classical down. Classical's going to free kick. They blew the whistle when Classical got knocked down. Asani tracked it down anyway. He's looking to throw it out in front. They're going to put it back at the 35-yard line. And Blas again will get the free kick. 10 minutes in to this first half. Drills it. It actually got tipped by St. Mary's. And Mateo came out to get it. And when he did, he lost it, and it went out of play. Classical will get a corner kick. They're first. Coming from the near side. Out in front, Mateo hustled. It looked like it went off of St. Mary's head out in front. Mateo had a hustle, and he kept it in. Now St. Mary's really hustling. De Oliveira keeps it in. Sliding and knocking it out. I think that was Ivan Malara. Corner kick for St. Mary's. They knock it way outside. Gets headed away. Back around the 20-yard line. Trying to walk around, trying to center it, deflect it. Classical will kick it out away. And he can't keep it in. It goes out of play. Grayson Payne again will throw it in. Tipped up. Classical knocks it away. St. Mary's trying to keep it alive. It skips by everybody. Classical's defense will pick it up. St. Mary's knocks it right back to the Classical end. Nice slide. Defense. Little give and go with St. Mary's down that corner trying to get a scoring opportunity, and Classical defense just slid, knocked it away. Classical again breaking up the play. Knocking it way out of play, up in the seats. And they must have deflected it off St. Mary's because they're giving a throw in to Classical. St. Mary's knocks it deep again. Contreras came out, picked it off. Classical coming the other way. They knock it deep. Popped up. Goes off George, out of play. And we're going to throw it quickly in, but they're going to be substitutions for both teams. DeLeon with the throw-in. Off the head of Payne. George knocks it deep. Garcia was down there, but Malawa knocked it away. Blas keeping it alive. Glasgow back on the St. Mary's end. Haven't been there for a while, and they get there and they knock it out of play. Couple of heads, 3 heads, make it 4. Somebody finally gets a foot on it. It got knocked out. And went out off thongs to thong. They knock it deep. Trying to make a move. George knocks it away. Good defense. Good passing by Glasgow, but George just made a nice defensive play. DeLeon pops it way up in the air. Gets by everybody. They'll leave it for Mateo, and he just throws it upfield. And St. Mary's hustled it back to the other end very quickly. They throw it deep to the far side. Trying to throw it out in front. Gets deflected, goes out, and I believe it's off Classical, and St. Mary's will get another corner kick. That one went way up in the air, over everything, and out of play by the net. Well out of play. And Malaro will kick it away. This is the 15th annual Lynn City Soccer Tournament Championship game, the boys style. St. Mary's girls won it over Classical in a tight 2-1 game, coming from behind 1-0 to score 2 and win it. We mentioned English girls and Tech boys won the consolation rounds. Oscar knocks it out of play. Looking for that long lead pass. They were trying to send Molina Orellana in alone. Then he knocked it out. After it was knocked loose away from him. Goes off the head, out of play. Blocked. Blocked again. They finally knock it deep. Garcia looking for it. Garcia gets it back in the middle. His pass deflected away by Classical. St. Mary's blocked it. Now pass picked off by Classical. Back and forth we go. Neither team has really had a good scoring opportunity. St. Mary's has dominated territorial-wise. But they haven't been able to put one in yet. And we got a whistle because the back upfield is a player down. And of course, this being virtually the second game in the season for these teams, it's difficult because haven't really played really games. They might have had a scrimmage, but scrimmage is not the same. Everybody plays. You run around, make substitutions, let everybody play, just trying to get in shape. And now, season very early, and it's going to happen. You're going to cramp up a little bit, slow down. We're just happy that it's nothing serious. St. Mary's is getting a free kick from the 15-yard line. I was watching the play that was down. I didn't notice the contact up at the other end of the field. St. Mary's gets it to the net. And they're going to call St. Mary's, I think, for offside to get behind everybody. Malaro will kick it away. Lead pass, Thongs to Fong, knocks it ahead. Classical gets there first, and they knock it out. Halfway through this first half, no score, St. Mary's and Classical. Championship final of the 2017 Lynn soccer tournament, the boys version. All these teams will be getting back in league mode now, with the exception of maybe a couple of interleague or non-league games. Deflected by St. Mary's. They managed to keep it in, and they come right back into the Classical end where the ball has been most of this half. Long lead down the far side. It bounced away from St. Mary's, cleared away by Classical. Trying to walk in, went through a couple of defenders and pushed it a little too far. I think that was Garcia. Pushed it a little too far, and before he could get to it, Cotres come out and took it away. They knock it deep. Getting there first is Payne to get a piece of it. Nice pass to the middle of the field. Lead pass. Bounce off the Classical player. And that was Novoa. Blocked. Novoa trying to get it. Had it taken away. St. Mary's. It got knocked away by Amaya. Out. Garcia had it blocked by Ixlaj. Haskell keeps it alive. And then St. Mary's knocks it away. Haskell trying to knock it deep. St. Mary's there to pick it off. Longstafon knocking it deep, trying to get De Oliveira out in front. He knocked it to the middle of the field, so Cortez was able to come up and pick it off. They knock it deep. Novoa couldn't keep it in. Got there trying to drag it around, and instead he knocked it forward, knocked it out of play. trying to knock it deep. Defense is there to pick it off and knock it away. It was Mackey, I believe, with the defensive play for St. Mary's. And we got a body going down. Fans get excited when the body goes down. They expect a whistle, but no call. St. Mary's coming back. They get around, but then St. Mary's clears it, and now the St. Mary's player goes down. They blow the whistle. Well, St. Mary's will get a free kick from about the 30-yard line. George will take it. Just inside the 30. Contreras comes way out of the net, and actually was a jump ball between him, might have been Garcia, and Contreras came up and just knocked it away, and wound up being knocked out by St. Mary's. Glasgow will get the throw-in. 15 minutes and counting left in this first half. No score. Nobody has come close. And he threw it in, but I think they were waiting for subs. Now they give it back. And it gets out off Glasgow. St. Mary's will make multi-subs. St. Mary's had too many players on the field, and one of the subs was still going off the field. They tried to throw it out in front, and getting a foot on it was Malara knocking it out of play. St. Mary's will get a corner kick. Yet another corner kick, this one coming from the far side. St. Mary's got a head on it, knocked it behind the net, out of play. So neither goaltenders had to do anything sensational to keep it 0-0. Malara again will kick it away. St. Mary's gets taken down. And he banged up, I don't know if he banged up the ankle. He's up again. That's Thongs to Fong. This is D'Oliveira, I believe, is going to take the kick. Drills it right to the net. They went up to try and get a head on it. Right over the head of Garcia. Couldn't get up and get it. Knocking it deep. St. Mary's hustled and kept it in. Bodies go down in the end zone. Glasgow knocks it out of play. St. Mary's lost it. lights go out. You gotta go up there and step near the elevator so the lights go back on. Still working hard to try and get a decent shot on net. Neither team can do it so far. St. Mary's again keeping it in the classical end. But classical keeping away from getting a good shot. De Leon broken up and it goes out off Thongstaphone. That one got knocked out by Molina Orellana. Excuse me, it didn't. It got knocked out by Mackey. And there's George putting it out of harm's way, all the way downfield, long, deep, and out of play. And turning around and firing is Alex Ixlaj. And he just spun around and ripped it and went high and wide and hooked it to the near side out of play. 10 minutes and counting, no score. Nothing to choose so far between these two teams. We mentioned territorial-wise, St. Mary's probably has a little bit of an edge, but you don't win with the territorial edge. You got to score the goals. Classical gets around, broken up, they get it back. They try to pooch it out in front. George is there to get a head on it and knocked it away. Classical controlling, knocking it deep now. They knock it deeper. Mackey is there to pick it off. And he knocks it out of play. St. Mary's with the throw-in. Classical heads it away. And we got a call. Collision on St. Mary's. From midfield or just beyond. Bloss will get their kick away. They're going to put it back. All the way back to he was going to kick it from the 50. He put it back at the 43. So he moved him 7 yards back. He boots it deep. Get it out in front. Glass will get a body on it. It went off Christopher Zalea. They knock it deep. Classical collects. Down deep. Hustling is Mackey to knock it out of play. St. Mary's will make a substitution. They don't have as many. First game of the tournament, they brought the entire student body. They had most of the JVs. They had like 36 kids. Classical fanned on it. Now they get it back. And they miscalculated that pass. Mackey again knocks it out of play. De Leon again will throw it in after Classical makes a substitution. Mackey knocked it out. And St. Mary's going to put him. I think Classical has a point. They were beyond the end line. Classical should be getting a corner kick. They were complaining to the official. The official said no. Headed away. Classical now keeping it a little bit in the St. Mary's end. They push it ahead to the middle, and they try to tip it, and they threw it too far. They were looking for a little give and go, trying to send Zalea to the net, and it just a little too far, and it went out of play. And it wasn't Zalea, it was Flores they were trying to send to the net. Francisco Flores. 5 minutes and counting left in a scoreless first half. Broken up. St. Mary's knocks it away. De Oliveira got blocked as he trying to get it upfield. It only went about a couple of yards. Classical picked it off. And now it goes out of play. Off Mackey. DeVoe trying to make the quick throw. He threw it over his head. They get it to the net. George is there to pick it off. And I'm not sure what that call was. But St. Mary's is going to get a free kick. I was watching George be in a perfect position to field that long lead pass or kick. And I didn't see what happened back upfield, but they blew the whistle and St. Mary's wound up with free kick. And now we got bodies coming together. They're going to call it on Classical. And St. Mary's will get a free kick from the 25-yard line. Not quite dead center, a little to the right of dead center. And let's see who's going to take it. It was De Oliveira, and it went straight. Hooked it well wide and left and out of play as we got 3 minutes and counting left in a scoreless first half. You almost get to thinking that somebody's going to make a terrible mistake and it's going to cost somebody a goal and it's going to win a championship for somebody. Long lead pass. Classical trying to get there. Mackey hustled and took it away and cleared it away. They knock it deep. And there's a cross-body block. I can't believe they didn't make a call on that play. They're bringing him back. Are they going to give him? They're going to let Classical kick it away. I can't believe they didn't make a call on that play. De Oliveira got blindsided, got knocked down, and they wind up giving Classical the free kick. Unbelievable. They sent the long pass. De Oliveira had a half a step. The defense caught up, and they just gave him a bump and knocked him skyward. Thank God he didn't get hurt. And they didn't make a call at all. They gave Classical the kick. And now a little cross-body block by Josue Pena takes Thongstafong down. They finally called that one. They better start calling something, or this game's going to get out of hand. Ola George will take the kick. Headed away by Classical, kept alive by St. Mary's. Popped back. Mackey looking for it. Blocked by Classical. Time winding down in this first half. They throw it too far ahead of Navoa. Quick throw in by Wall. St. Mary's picks off the pass. Boy, they're letting a lot of contact. That went right through the wickets of Wall. And then Mackey hustles back and knocks it out. And we'll get a substitution. It's got to be the closing seconds of this first half, 0-0. And nobody has come close to scoring. Goaltenders have not had to make any miraculous saves. They try to center it. Mackey kicks it away. Lead pass. George lets it go through. Mateo almost wasn't sure. He didn't know George was going to let it go. He stayed in net, then he had to hustle over and get it because George let it go. Long lead, too far, too long. Cortez picks it up, and we got to be winding down as he boots it high in the air. Classical missed the header. Popped up again. Headed back to George. De Oliveira pushes it ahead. Sliding and making the save was De Leon. Malara. And it wound up with Cortez picking it up. And the whistle's going to sound. And we end the first half the same way we began the first half in this 15th championship final. It's Lynn Classical nothing, St. Mary's nothing at halftime. Welcome back as we set to start the second half here at Manning Field. And the last half of the city tournament, championship tournament. And remind you, it's 0-0, and normally those acquainted with soccer will know that games, especially state tournament games for the MIAA, ties are ties, just like they are in hockey. But this game cannot end in a tie because somebody has to win the championship trophy. It's like playing in the finals of the state tournament. If it ends up going into a shootout, the two teams will get a point because they'll be credited with a tie for MIA state tournament purposes. Neither team will get a win towards the state tournament, but they'll both get a point. But they'll go to a shootout. From long range, it got blocked and knocked away by Mackey. St. Mary's knocks it deep. Classical knocks it back the other way. They swung and missed. George covers up, gets it upfield. It goes by Garcia. And I guess they called Classical with taking Garcia down. I thought Garcia was sliding, trying to get the ball. Thongstafong boots it deep. St. Mary's keeps it in. And they get the shot off going to the net, and they one-timed it and knocked it wide. Good bid. That was De Oliveira. might have been Ramsey who tried to keep it in play and did, and threw it out in front. And DeOliveira one-timed it and knocked it wide. St. Mary's knocks it deep. They knock it too deep. It goes out of play. Glasgow knocks it upfield. A couple of nice passes gets him up there. The lead. St. Mary's gets there first and knocks it out of play. And I believe it's going to be a corner kick for Glasgow, coming from the near side. They knocked it on top of the net, almost knocked it in the net. Again, nobody really getting that kind of offense. They've made passes, they've played defense, but nobody's had a legitimate chance that forced either goaltender to make a save. Longstefan comes away with it. Gets it to Garcia down the near side. He got broken up nicely by Amaya. And they're going to call St. Mary's, I think. They grabbed and turned the player around. Aiden O'Brien got bumped off the play. When he went to get the ball, he kind of grabbed a hold of one of the Glasgow players. It gave him a little push, and they caught him. Out off Glasgow, into the Glasgow bench area. Back in that center field position, Nathaniel Mace-Rateau knocked it away, and now Glasgow gets knocked down trying to go to the net. It's been a nice day. It's been cool. There's a breeze. So people needed a jacket or a sweatshirt, maybe both. But it wasn't sub-zero degrees. The lead pass broken up. And St. Mary's going to get called for running over. Longstefan can't believe they called it. They ran over Navoa. Glasgow will get the free kick. They get it to the net. Coming out is Mateo. He fires it way upfield. They push it up. Broken up by Mace-Rateau. Knocks it way out of play. George will take the throw-in. Off the head of Amaya. Tipped up. Longstafone gets it ahead to Garcia. Garcia cleared the way for himself. He just gave a two-handed shove to Mateo and knocked him down. Boy, the pitchers are letting a little bit go. Let's hope it doesn't go too far. George moves up, and De Oliveira drops back and takes his spot defensively as Classical knocks it out. And then George gets back. Classical clears it away. Longstafone with the shot. Off the crossbar from long range. From long range, they booted it right on the net. It hit the crossbar, and then cutting across out in front was Nolan Perez. Got a head on it and tipped it over the net. Grayson Payne got the shot. Somebody finally got. It wasn't the goaltender that had to make the save. It was the net that had to make the save. The crossbar. Grayson Payne drilled it from deep outside. And now they set up Longstafone from Garcia, and he knocks it up over the net. But that long shot by Payne went over the goaltender's head. As he looked up, it hit the middle of the crossbar, and it deflected right straight out. And when it deflected out, there was Nolan Perez with the header to knock it back, and he knocked it over the net. So St. Mary's came away shaking their head after those two attempts. So it's still 0-0, and we're almost 10 minutes in. Out of the timeout. People still buzzing about that shot by Payne. It hit right in the middle of the goalpost. And then the header that followed. No, there wasn't anybody anywhere near Perez when it come off the goalpost and bounced right back to him, but he headed it. He didn't have a chance to knock it. I don't think he knew that he had a chance to maybe knock it down and just tap it in the open net. He tried a one-timer with the header, and he headed it over the net. Longstafone takes the shot, misses wide left. St. Mary's starting right now to put a lot of pressure on Glasgow with some opportunities, but still not cashing in. De Oliveira heads it back. Classical knocks it away. And somebody whacked somebody because St. Mary's is going to get a free kick. Longstafone will take it from the 30-yard line. The Classical player went down sliding to knock it away, but they called the contact on Classical. Longstafone gets it up in the air, and they try to get a head on it, and they knocked it behind the net. They got a head on it, and that was George, I believe. He came up from his center field spot. They got it up. It was to the far side, the right side, right, almost right at the post. George went up and got a head on it and knocked it into the side of the net. So St. Mary's all around now, but still can't put anything in. And now, again, I don't know what that call is. There was nobody offside. Didn't look anybody get knocked down. But they're going to give Classical a free kick. Unless there was something away from the ball. Knocked away by Thongstefan. Classical gets it back. They knock it deep. And they can't keep it in. Hustling was Garcia, but he couldn't get to it. Both teams will make a substitution. Still no score in this one. 15th annual Lynn City Tournament Championship Final. St. Mary's trying to make it a clean sweep. The girls beating Classical in the girls' version. The boys trying to do the same. But so far, nothing to choose between both teams. Trying to walk in, just broken up by the defense. And just broken up again. George gets a piece, tips it away. Blocked. Finally, Mateo comes out and picks it off and said, I'll take care of it. And he's going to kick it away. Classical trying to go deep. St. Mary's blocks it. And then Classical slides and knocks it out of play. Classical gets there and keeps it in play. Gets it around the defense. Nice little shift. Nice little shift again. Trying to throw it in front. And he threw it wide of the net. Behind the net and out of play. They knock it deep, they're going to knock it too deep. They're not going to be able to keep it in. Nice little Thongstefan, like spin behind his back. Looked like it was nice. Then he just lost it off his foot, out of play. Well, the Classical player goes down. Classical coming back. And his Classical with his little push. Long lead. Garcia's going to get there. Walks in, blocked. But what a save by Cotrez. Garcia made a nice little shift, went around the defense, got a real good shot on net, and that's the first real good scoring opportunity that the goaltender had made a save on. The other one went off. Cotrez just had to watch it and pray that it hit the goalpost, which it did, the crossbar. But the long lead pass, Garcia hustled, got to it, made a nice little shift, little shake and bake move. And as he was moving, drilled it on net, and Cotrez made an outstanding save. First time the goaltender, either goaltender, had to make a save. St. Mary's out in front. Knocked away by the Classical defense nicely. I think that was Malaro with the play. Back to George. Down the far side. Classical trying to collect. They do. Classical knocks it away. Back to George again. Long lead pass, Garcia. He shot it wide of the net, but they're saying that Contreras got a piece of it, and that'll give St. Mary's a corner kick. And they made the play. They weren't going to take the corner kick. They made a nice little play with De Oliveira and Garcia trying to come out of the corner, and they blew the whistle because there was a substitution. So now they just go to the corner kick. Contreras goes way up in the air, picks it, and they're going to give him a do-over. Line drive is off the foot of, I think, Garcia over the net. Might have been De Oliveira. It was Garcia. De Oliveira had the corner kick. Got it out in front. Garcia tried to one-time it and got a piece of it and knocked it over the net. Haskell drills it, and it gets by everybody all the way to the St. Mary's end. St. Mary's will get the throw-in. Tipped away, Classical knocks it upfield. Mackey collides with Navoa. Nice little shift. Molina Orellana and the fans in the stands liked it. Now it's blocked. Orange Lavon blocked it, but he couldn't find it. Now a nice little shift there. And another nice little shift. And it's blocked out in front. Good defense. Eva De Leon. Two great shifts by Thong Stefan. He lined up like he was going to drill it home. And De Leon stood there his ground and knocked it away. St. Mary's really upping the pressure here, having more of the chances. Classical still hasn't put any pressure on Mateo at all. They knock it deep. It's a foot race. Classical gets there first and knocks it out. And I think that was Malara. Corner coming from the near side. They knock it way deep. They got a head on it and knocked it behind the net. I think that was Nolan Perez. Malara line drives it away. Off St. Mary's, it goes out of play. Tipped. Tipped again. Classical knocks it upfield. George gets a head on it. George takes it away. And they're going to call George for making contact on Molina Orellana. Naveau will take the free kick from just outside the 30-yard line. Mateo makes the diving catch right at the goal line. Halfway through the second half and counting, no score. Mateo hits it short, but hits it way up in the air. You have to think at this point, one goal is going to look like 6. St. Mary's takes it away. They knock it deep. Coutras comes out of the net way out to the far side. He'll kick it away. Gets it out near midfield. And we're going to get Classical called for taking the Oliveira down. Now that Classical was just about to say, wait a minute, what are you calling on me for? They will argue the call, and they gave it to Classical. They took the Oliveira down. Classical turned to the official saying, how can you call that on me? And he said, virtually said, I didn't. You get the free kick. We've had a few questionables, like that De Oliveira with that cross body block. When he got knocked down, there was no call. Passing has been good for both teams, getting it up, but they just can't keep it going. Once they get down, when you consider the red zone in soccer, somebody comes up with a defensive play, and now they run over. They ran right over Ramsey. St. Mary's will get another free kick from midfield. George will take it. Deflects right to Classical. George gets it back. With a rush. Still with it. Still walking in. Shot got blocked. Ricocheted off a couple of people. De Leon knocks it deep. And it's going to go into the Classical bench area out of play. Quick substitution for St. Mary's. And it goes out off St. Mary's. Classical trying to control it, deflects off a couple of people. St. Mary's winds up with a George, kicks it upfield. St. Mary's knocks it deep. St. Mary's hustles and keeps it in, and then Classical knocks it out of play behind the St. Mary's bench area. So Payne hit the middle of the top crossbar, deflected out onto the head of Nolan Perez, who lifted it over the net out of play. And then Garcia took the long lead pass, made a nice little shift, drilled it, and Coutras made a great play. And that's virtually been the extent of the scoring opportunities. Classical hasn't had, Mateo has not had to make a really tough save at all. They let it go through to Coutras, and he'll kick it away. Bounces out near midfield. They head it away. Navoa knocks it deep. Mateo will come out of the net and play it. 15 minutes and counting left in regulation, I have to say, because it's still 0-0 as Mateo boots it well past midfield. It goes off Aiden O'Brien out of play. Naveau will take the throw in. Headed away. Knocked away by Klasko. Back checking Matt Conley. Perez trying to get around. Trying to center it. It got picked off by Mace Rateau, and he clears it out of play. Mackey will take the throw in. Cortez will kick it away. Now he just throws it upfield. Klasko knocks it deep, skips by everybody. George gets bumped. Klasko picks it off. Tipped away. Honks the Fong with a rush. Drops it to the far side. And it goes off the foot. Honks the Fong pushed it ahead. They came down that far side and went off a foot and out of play. Klasko broke it up. Also get a foot on it. Knocks it away. Pop straight up in the air. Also trying to knock it deep. Nobody back there except St. Mary's. They bang it off. Klasko out of play. St. Mary's will get the throw in as St. Mary's makes a substitution. Trying to knock it deep. It got blocked by Klasko and out into the St. Mary's bench area. They throw it deep. St. Mary's made a little shift. Defender went down. And it gets blocked and knocked out. And St. Mary's going to get a corner kick. Everybody picking a partner, milling around out front. They get up out in front, hook right by everybody. Just slid by everybody. Body's going down. Klasko, St. Mary's both. Late whistle. And they're going to give it to St. Mary's. Thongstafone got knocked down. Now everybody getting ready for the free kick. Just outside the 5-yard line from a fairly tough angle. He drills it out in front, headed away nicely by the defense of Klasko. Payne trying to get it to the far side. It gets knocked away. Klasko coming back the other way. They knock it deep. Klasko trying to collect. George got there and knocked it away. Looked like they might be going around the defense, and George helped out, knocked it away. 10 minutes and counting. Left in regulation. And St. Mary's gets taken down. And the free kick will come from the far side this time. Just about right at the 5-yard line. A little bit of an angle. Out in front, they headed to the net. Cotrez with a tremendous save, and then they shank it wide. What a great save by Cotrez. He's robbed Garcia, and now he robs Thongsafong. Two great saves. Thongsafong just shook his head. They got the free kick. They got what they wanted. Thongsafong got a head on it, got it right to the net. And Cotrez made a great save. And then on the rebound, they knocked it wide of the net. Cotrez has been exceptional. Hasn't had it make many, but he's made two beauties. And now we're going to get a call against Classical again. It looks like St. Mary's is arguing, but they stopped the play. George brought the ball back. The kick is going to come from the 10-yard line, just inside the 10. Again, from a tough angle. I think they're going to move that Classical picket fence back a little bit. He marks off a few more steps. They move him back. They just missed scoring on the last one. Again, everybody milling around out front. They drill it in the net. Perez knocked it in. With 7 minutes left, that's a huge shot. Cotrez, who's made some tremendous saves. Went as high as he could, but it settled under the top crossbar in the far corner. And Perez, who had that header after that ball bounced off the top crossbar, just punched that one just over the head of the goaltender, just underneath the crossbar, dropping into the far corner. And St. Mary's grabs a very important 1-0 lead with 7 minutes to play and the clock running. Classical trying to get there. St. Mary's gets there first. Classical collects. They knock it across to Amaya. Thongsafong hustles and takes it away, and now bodies go down. And it looked like Thongsafong had Amaya in a headlock, but they call it on Amaya for taking Thongsafong down. And Perez will kick it away. O'Brien knocks it ahead. Garcia with a nice little shift. Thongsafong trying to push it ahead, knocked it out of play. Classical's got to go to the whip. They're down 1-0 with 5 minutes and counting left in this one. St. Mary's trying to make it a sweep, match the girls' championship. Classical trying to salvage a split after the Classical girls lost to St. Mary's. Bodies go down again. They call it on Molina Arellana for wrapping his arm around Conley. George boots it away. It goes deep. Classical was trying to let it go out of bounds. They can't. St. Mary's collects. St. Mary's lets it go out. It wound up going out on Zalea. And St. Mary's gets a corner kick. They drop it back to Thongstafong. He drills it wide on the short side, out of play. Now, Classical battling both St. Mary's and the clock. With 3:30 left, they trail 1-0. And they just can't get that shot off. They get it down deep. St. Mary's takes it away and brings it back the other way. Garcia with the lead pass. Cotres comes out of the net. Couldn't stop the shot, but he cut down the angle and he knocked the shot wide. I think it was Garcia. That would have been huge. But Cotres did a nice job again coming out, cutting down the angle, and not giving Garcia anything to shoot at. Two and a half and counting in this one. Mackey will take the throw in after we get a substitution. Headed away by Garcia. Perez keeps it in. Perez winds up with it. And we're going to get a grab. Mace Rateau had his arms all over Nolan Perez. And now Classical with a takedown. And I'm not sure that was they're giving Novoa a yellow card. He has to leave. I don't know what that was for. There's been a lot of takedowns through the whole game. I mean, that cross body block that took the Oliveira down, nothing. Now the slide, and they're going to have Novoa go to the sideline, and that's probably going to do it for him because he's got to stay out for a while. And we're in the final 2 minutes. I'm not sure that was the most egregious takedown of the day. Garcia, Thongstafong. They take it to the corner, holding on. Classical knocks it out. I think they were looking for a corner kick. They're not going to get it. It's going to be a throw-in. And we'll get a substitution first. So St. Mary's eating up part of the clock with the substitution. Because the clock just keeps running. Now the throw-in coming. Bounces to the side of the net. Classical has to get a little giddy up in their step. They have to go very quickly. Time is winding down on them. St. Mary's does what they need to do, get it down. And Thongstafong on the fly. Try to one-time it, and again, knocked it high over the net and out of place. St. Mary's has done that a lot. He had a little more room and a little more time. He could have kept going to the net. But they're doing what they have to do. They're keeping it in the Classical end in the closing seconds. They knock it out. And Classical just running out of time. But St. Mary's defensively had played extremely well. They kept Classical at bay. Classical would get the ball in the St. Mary's end, but nowhere near getting a good shot. And St. Mary's just keep away. A couple of nice shifts. De Oliveira. Now Classical kicks it out. And they blow the whistle, and that's going to do it. So St. Mary's gets a sweep. Cotrez was outstanding in net, but the one shot, Nolan Perez, from about the 20-yard line, put it on net. Cotrez went as high as he could. It went over his head, just under the top crossbar in the far corner. And that was the difference, 1-0. It went back and forth. Cotrez made a couple of great saves. Payne hit a crossbar. Nolan Perez, who got the winning goal off that crossbar, got a header that knocked it over the net and out of play. And Classical passed the ball well. They got it up in the St. Mary's end, but when they got in the St. Mary's zone, the offense just kind of staggered a little bit. St. Mary's took it away and brought it right back to the Classical end, and St. Mary's just couldn't generate any real good offense. And it cost them because it's going to be a sweep. The boys are going to win it. Nolan Perez with that one goal, and we said before, especially with 7 minutes left, one goal looked like six, and Perez just nestled it in behind the goaltender, and he had to do it. Cotrez had a great night. He made 3 or 4 great saves. And on the other side, Rich Mateo didn't really have to do much at all. He just back there, if he got it, it was from long range and wasn't on net. Classical didn't have really any chances at all offensively. And it winds up with that one goal by Nolan Perez knocking it home. And that was the difference in the game as St. Mary's sweeps. The girls won it 2-1 over Classical. The boys won it 1-0 over Classical. And I don't know if these two teams are going to play anybody better than the teams they played tonight. Classical gave St. Mary's all they could handle. This is a fairly veteran team, St. Mary's. They're still young, but they're veterans. They've been playing for a while, a couple of years. Classical, under their second-year coach, Dom Sedman, doing a very nice job. I know it's going to hurt. They made it to the final, and they come out on the short end of the stick. Classical's going to go to 1-1. St. Mary's will go to 2-0 on the early season, and obviously that's the way that Mike D'Agostino wanted to start. Dom Sedman was excited about getting into the final. The teams played well, but they just couldn't get the offense going tonight. They could get it in St. Mary's end, but couldn't finish and couldn't get a real good shot on net. Didn't make Mateo work in net at all. And it came out hurting him as Nolan Perez got that long free kick and just coaxed it under the top crossbar in the far corner, just over the reach of Daniel Cotrez, who was outstanding in net. Had to make several saves to keep Classical in the game, but couldn't get to that one. Who's the MVP? In a 1-0 game where defense was big, it was defense winning the MVP. Connor Mackey gets the MVP award. The captains of St. Mary's will come out and accept the championship trophy. And the 2017 Lynn City Soccer Tournament is in the books. 8 games played. Lynn English girls won the consolation round. Lynn Tech boys won the consolation round. And St. Mary's boys and girls will sweep. There'll be matching trophies in the trophy case down at St. Mary's. as St. Mary's boys win the 2017. They come back. They lost last year in the final, so they're hoping they're starting a new streak. They've got one in a row now as they come over to show the trophy to the fans, and they win it with Nolan Perez's long free kick, and they win it 1-0 over Glasgow. So we hope you enjoyed it. I'm Don Hoffman saying we'll see you next time.